From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes, brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. And the Purple are front and center this week. They're under the spotlight of 10K Takes after a signature win on Monday night, ABC, in that white-hot spotlight, national television. They get it done against San Francisco, a powerhouse in the NFL. And I thought the Vikings were impressive in just about every phase, sans maybe kicking. They had a missed field goal and an extra point go awry by Greg Joseph. But other than that...
Well, in the field goal was like a 56-yarder.
Not a gimme. But it was one that could have made it an 8-point game.
Agreed.
But the missed extra point, you can't have that. But anyways, they played very well, starting with Kirk Cousins and on down the line, and Jordan Addison, and pinnacle moments so far.
Yeah, well, and I even got on the bandwagon. I wore a purple shirt for the show this week.
Drinking that purple Kool-Aid.
Drinking the purple Kool-Aid. Now, let's trace back about a week ago, and you were making fun of me. I said... Boy, I tell you what, if the Lions happen to lose to the Ravens, who are playing pretty good football, and the Vikings somehow beat the 49ers, and then the Gophers go into Iowa and beat Iowa, the Gophers would be in control of their own destiny in the Big Ten West, that is, and the Vikings would be within 2 games of first and within 1 game of a playoff spot. And lo and behold, it all came true. And you were just riding me. You said, oh, man, you're drinking purple Kool-Aid, this, that, and the other thing. I'm just speaking truths.
I never said it was impossible. I never thought, well, Detroit's a given to go in Baltimore and win, which we know they didn't. They got absolutely crushed like a grape.
They got shellacked.
Minnesota Vikings, so they played their best game to beat San Francisco, and I thought San Francisco wasn't very crisp.
Plus, they were missing a few guys.
Right.
Let's be fair.
They were Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel. Of course, Minnesota was missing Justin Jefferson, so it does tend to equal out. The Gopher win, the Floyd fluke, wow. I mean, they got the trophy back up north here. Yeah. It's in Dinkytown, and it's been, 8 years, right?
Yeah.
So you could have, went to undergrad and then went to medical school, say, for 4 years and have not seen it. So you better go take a look because you don't know how long it's going to be here.
Well, it made an appearance at U.S. Bank Stadium Monday night.
Yeah.
Gopher players brought it to the Vikings game, and they were celebrated during a timeout. They didn't give them much time at halftime, I noticed. They brought them during a timeout and then quickly scuttled them off the field.
And Dave Winfield also in the house.
Dave Winfield was
getting the game going. So.
Yeah, he blew what's that thing called? The Gallahorn?
The
Gallahorn, whatever that thing is. Well, good. He had a Viking purple on. So
he was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings once upon a time.
Yeah, he was drafted MLB, NBA, and NFL.
And never played in the NBA or the NFL, but was very good in Major League Baseball.
Really?
Probably could have been Shohei. Pitch and play in the field.
That's true. Very true. No, I loved Kirk Cousins' game on Monday night. He's had a very good year, and he had a very good year last year. Their defense let them down last year, if you ask me. It's been their running game that's been letting them down this year. Defense has been better, hasn't been great, but it's been better than it was a year ago under Brian Flores this year. I think that it's a defense that's more aggressive, and I think it has worked for them. Hey, let's face it. They did a good job against the 49ers offense, which features one of the top players in the game. Christian McCaffrey got his. He got both of their touchdowns. But, they held them in check, and I guess that's the main thing. You're not going to shut them down, but you can hold them in check.
No question. And, the Vikings had one of those early turnovers, which has been their trademark all season.
Yes.
And San Francisco is marching down the field, gashing the Vikings to a degree, and you're thinking they're going to take the early lead, and this is going to go the way the odds makers said it would go in favor of San Francisco. But C-Mac put the ball on the rug. The Vikings got a fumble, and they went down the field, and they got that touchdown throw from Kirk Cousins to Jordan Addison. It was tight until the final seconds, and I think the big thing for Minnesota is you get a win over an NFC team that is projected to be in the Super Bowl conversation. I mean, the 49ers won the NFC Championship game a year ago. They made Brock Purdy uncomfortable at times, especially down the stretch. He could not find his receivers when he needed to. I thought the 49ers had very suspect clock management on that last drive. No timeouts. They're throwing the ball down the middle. You can't stop the clock down the middle. You got to work the sidelines. I was surprised by the 49ers approach, when they had a chance to maybe win the game.
Yeah, they kind of let the Vikings defense dictate what was happening as opposed to the other way around. And Purdy ends up throwing into basically double coverage, and that ended
And
the
don't
game.
you think, to me, on the back end, the strength of the Viking defense would be the safeties, Cam Bynum and Harrison Smith. The corners are young, and you have guys who can get the ball in space and then get out of bounds, stop the clock, and keep moving the drive.
They didn't do that.
No, they did not.
All right, we'll have further Purple Talk coming up next because former Vikings great Chuck Foreman is going to join us right here next.
10K takes your purple ticket.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment where you'll find some of the hottest new games along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level, all the way up to high stakes where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week so you can
have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10,000 Takes continues, and we're going to continue the Purple Talk with former Viking great Chuck Foreman, the great number 44, joining us. And Chuck, this was perhaps their best performance of the year. Or maybe not perhaps. This was their best performance of the year. And I thought that Kirk Cousins played as good a game as he possibly could have played.
Well, I agree with you 100%. But instead of saying it may be one of the best games I've seen a Viking team play, period. And I can only say this: Kirk Cousins was the best quarterback in the NFL on that day. I mean, I'm saying what you saw was a team that came together. The offensive line came together. The back of everybody stepped in and did what they had to do to win. And what made it all happen was that offensive line and the way they were able to play. They gave Kirk time. And when that guy gets time like that, he's the best. And he plays with the best. And that's all I can say. Defensively, offensively, special teams, backups, everybody that came into that game, they were playing at their best. And that's a good thing. We haven't seen that in a while.
And Chuck, Minnesota matched San Francisco's physicality. 0 sacks for the 49ers. Nick Bosa was on a milk carton most of the night. They only touched Kirk Cousins 8 times in the pocket. So I didn't think the Vikings could play that physical, but they proved they could against a heavyweight. What'd you think?
Well, everybody that plays this game is physical. I think when you challenge them to be more physical, or if you tell them that they're not physical, that kind of pushes a different button for a guy to step up. And then playing San Francisco, knowing how physical they are with Bosa and all those guys and the PR that they're getting, it kind of makes you step up your play a little bit more than normal. And hopefully the Vikings will maintain that level of commitment, to being all they can be. Because those guys, everybody played well. And I was really impressed.
All right, let's talk about Cam Akers. He came in and had what I thought was his best game as a Viking so far. He hasn't had that much opportunity. The week before, they hardly used him at all. But what are your thoughts about Cam Akers and how good he can be, or how important he can be to this Viking offense?
Well, Cam Akers is a great talent, number one. He was out there in L.A. I don't know what happened, but, even when he was with the Rams, he showcased his skill set. Here with the Vikings, he's been here a few weeks. They giving him time to catch up with the system and the things that he can do, and things that he can do they're going to take advantage of. He's going to be a great addition to the team. So, in this game, you got to have a great 1-2 punch, and I think we'll have it again.
Let's talk about another Cam Bynum, who had 2 huge interceptions, including the one late in the game that basically sealed the deal for Minnesota. The safety tandem of Bynum, who seems to be coming into his own, and then Harrison Smith, who's one of the all-time great Viking safeties. That's a good duo, isn't it?
I think so. I think Bynum played well yesterday. I'd like to celebrate him myself. I wouldn't, give us a break, man. Let us celebrate you. Don't celebrate yourself too much. You know what I'm saying?
All right, you're an old school guy. What do you think of these goofball celebrations?
Yeah, but wait a minute.
I think you know what I think of. Go ahead.
Old school is one thing. I'm just saying, just go play the game.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay. Just go play the game. Let us celebrate you. That's all. Okay, now go right on. I'm sorry.
All right. No, you answered my question. Okay, let's move on. Jordan Addison, his play. It sure makes you not remember for a few minutes that Justin Jefferson isn't in the game. I mean, you're not going to make you forget that you have him, but the fact that he's going to be out for a few more weeks, Jordan Addison, I thought filled in nicely.
I thought he played a tremendous football game, and he certainly didn't make me forget Justin Jefferson, but it made me think about the combination with him and Justin Jefferson when he gets back, how great it'll be. And not only that, Powell, he came in there and boy, he played a great game too. Everybody did. So, that's the kind of play you need from the guys when they get an opportunity to play. And all of them, KJ played great. All of them played well. So, but we've seen them step up and do the things they have to do. But like I said, when you go back to it, it all happens because, it's the guys up front, that make it happen. They give us an opportunity to showcase our skill, and that's what they did. They did, and they played a great football game.
Chuck, one thing that bugs me about today's coverage of the NFL and all the other major sports as well, you have 1 or 2 off games and everybody is bailing on you. I'll use Brock Purdy as an example. All of a sudden, he's very average, very ordinary. We've seen that narrative now with Josh Allen. Right. Everybody's being micromanaged in this, this era we live in with the internet and everything goes viral. When you played, do you remember it being that, overanalyzed? If Fran had a bad game or you didn't play well or Alan Page, were people saying that you guys were done after 1 or 2 games?
Well, the whole media perspective and the way they approach calling the games and evaluating the games and evaluating players has changed. When I played, most of the guys that were in those positions played the game and played it at a high level and knew the game inside out. And they just wouldn't criticize like that because they knew that some days it's going to be, you might have, when everybody's hitting on all cylinders, it's going to be a great day. The thing is, when everybody's not, how does the team come together and win? You see, but these guys, and when I see them and I listen, I don't pay much attention to them. I just listen to them and, they evaluate a guy. 1 week he's like, like the quarterback from Atlanta, forget the fact that he's 2 years in the league. Oh, he's no good. Then he comes out and wins. What are they, 4-2?
Yep.
Atlanta? Okay, 4-2. I mean, I don't care if he's not as great as they thought he was, but they win it. But we know what I'm saying is, boy, you take, I don't know. And from my perspective, especially at the quarterback position, it takes about 3 years just for them to even catch on to the speed of the game and and how the game goes and how the game works and how fast it's a whole different ball game. And so when I hate it when I see these guys on here week in and week out, like you said, he's in one week and the next week he's out the door. So I just don't pay much attention to him. I evaluate the game from my perspective and how I think it should be. And I know there's adjustments to a kid coming from college to pros. And when you get to the pros, that's still an adjustment. It's only a few Patrick Mahomes that come in that can sit for a year, come in and be an immediate success. Not many of those. 2 or 3 years is generally how long it takes.
And you know better than anybody, Chuck, when it's the border battle, Green Bay, Minnesota.
Right.
I mean, you just don't know what to expect. I think the Packers are in a bit of a desperation mode. They're slumping. They haven't been scoring points. And if they lose to Minnesota, they fall further behind the Vikings and potentially the Lions. So I feel like Green Bay's probably circling the wagons and saying, we got to get this one.
Well, first of all, number one, when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, or the Chicago Bears, any of those three teams, throw the record out the window. That means nothing. The Vikings better go, and they better be going with their best game, because Green Bay will be ready to play the Vikings. And if they aren't ready to play the Vikings, you'll hear it, because you'll be down there listening to the fans letting you know. So the Vikings, I'm sure, because even when I got here, the first thing I got was the lecture about playing the Packers and the Bears. So those lectures are hard and strong and long. So all those guys that come in here, even when you just first get traded here, somebody will sit you down and say, hey, now listen, when we go play Green Bay, you better be ready to go at your best. And, that's just the way it is. And then, you don't shake hands, like back in my time, you better not go shake a hand or say hi to anybody, prior to the game. You can do it after the game, but you couldn't do it when you were on the field either. Bud didn't allow that. That's the enemy for 60 minutes. And you don't say anything to them. You beat them up, and then you let them go home. So that's the way it is. So,
all right, Chuck. Well, we'll see how the Vikings do against the green and gold enemy. That's Sunday noon at Lambeau, and we'll check in with you again, I'm sure, in the next week or so.
And Chuck, congrats on going into the Miami Hurricanes Ring of Honor down in South Florida last week.
Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. They did it first class like always, and it's good to be in there. I went in there with Jimmy Johnson and Dennis Erickson, the two greatest coaches of Miami football history. Of course, I went in there with them. So, it was really good, really a great experience.
All right, congrats, Chuck.
Thanks,
Chuck Ian. Foreman, one of the Vikings' all-time greats, right here on 10,000 Takes. Stay with us. We'll be back with more after this time.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities, with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
10,000 takes. Well, it wasn't pretty, and it doesn't matter, but they won the football game. Your Golden Gophers went into Iowa City and did something that they haven't done, oh, by the way, since 1999. So winning in Iowa City on a goofy rule, but it's in the rule books. That's all I can say. I know you're opposed to rules, apparently, because you don't like it. But the Gophers did, in fact, beat Iowa, and they bring Floyd home for the first time in 8 years.
So they can party like it's 1999.
Yes.
No, thank you, Prince. Well, you can call it what you want. I guess technically that was a very technical definition of an obscure rule that you never see enforced. It's like getting a ticket for going 41 in a 40-mile-per-hour zone, and you're going to be cited for speeding. My whole thing on it is when they reviewed Cooper DeJean's punt return to the house, everyone, including the broadcasters on NBC, are thinking, okay, they want to make sure he stayed in bounds. I never heard anybody bring up that he's signaling for a fair catch. And the Gophers sideline did not go ballistic. It's not like they were pointing out to the
they didn't
zebras,
know the rule.
Right. Hey, that was a fair catch. So this caught everybody off guard. I call it the Floyd fluke. It's right up there with the immaculate reception now and the Tom Brady tuck play and the Hail Mary and Drew Pearson pushing off. Yeah, the Gophers get the win. I mean, that's how it goes down in the books. But, wow.
You're putting an asterisk next to it.
They had to have a little help. Let's put it that way.
Well, they got help.
No, I'm putting a zebra by the win.
Wow. They had help from a rule. It's in the rule book. I don't know what more there is to say. Read the rules.
Oh, boy.
Now, obviously, there was at least one referee, one guy in stripes knew the rule. And he wasn't signaling for a fair catch. He was signaling. And it says in the rule, it says you cannot use one of your arms to direct traffic. It literally says direct traffic in the rules. And that's what he was doing. Now the Iowa folks are saying that he was trying to keep his balance. Oh, my goodness.
Well, they're livid down there in
They're drunk is what they are, man. What are they
can't
smoking?
believe that that's the way it got taken away from them. But the real problem for Iowa is their offense is non-existent.
Oh, my goodness.
And you talk about
terrible.
nepotism. Kirk Ferentz's kid is the OC, and boy, he's getting a lot of heat down there. They can't score. The quarterback play in that game for both teams was set back, 5 decades? I saw nothing that impressed me from either quarterback, Ethan Kaliakmanis or Deacon down there in Deacon Hill, right?
Deacon Hill, yes.
Defensively, yeah, we saw a lot. Minnesota's defense was great.
Yeah, they were really good.
You got to give them credit.
Yeah, give them credit for making Hill look like a valley. He was
like
terrible.
Deacon Jones throwing the ball. And the thing is, and the Iowa fans can squawk about the play being called back, and I get it, but Iowa still had the ball roughly, close to midfield. All you need is a field goal. They couldn't even get in position.
Couldn't get 30 yards.
Kick it.
Couldn't get 25 yards to try and kick a 50-yard field goal. Yeah, they only have themselves to blame.
Let me just tell you this. The Big Ten West, whoever they serve up to the East, Michigan or Ohio State, that is going to be ugly in Indy.
Yeah, well, I don't anticipate your Gophers are going to beat Ohio State.
You're not drinking that much Kool-Aid.
No, but they do control their own destiny. Takes of the day coming up next.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment where you'll find some of the hottest new games along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level all the way up to high stakes where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week so you can
have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10K takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. This would be number 101 if you're scoring at home. All right, I've noticed, I'll call it a mini trend in the last 2 home games for the Minnesota Vikings at the House of Noise. These should have been Visine games, right? Get the red out. Kansas City Chiefs red, San Francisco 49ers red. Instead, just the opposite. Now, I kind of understand the Chiefs, easy drive up I-35, Midwest team, Super Bowl champs, all that stuff. San Francisco, though, you got to get on a jet in most cases if you want to come see a game here from NorCal. But, boy, a lot of 49er fans in the house. They even chanted, "Let's go Niners," during part of that game. So what's with these coup d'etats?
Well, first of all, the Vikings going into the 49ers game were 0-3 at home.
True.
So folks who own those home tickets, that home field advantage, they're looking at the bottom line. They're going, oh, wait a minute here. I paid what for a seat license? I paid how much for those tickets? Maybe I'll sell these off, and that'll pay for the rest of my tickets for the rest of the year. So I know that's happening. That's a fact. They're dumping tickets left and right at a higher cost than what they paid for them, probably dumping them into Vivid or StubHub or one of those. And you're right. 49er fans showed up big time, and Chiefs fans, it was like half the stadium was filled with Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Yeah, so we'll see if this is something that continues for the rest of the regular season, although Minnesota fans being Minnesota fans, now that they beat the 49ers, they're all back.
Yeah, they're in. They're all in now.
Yeah, oh yeah, drinking that Kool-Aid. Okay, takes of the day. We're going to find out if you're angry American, demanding diva, sarcastic Sam. Are you going to pin it in the red zone again, or have you cooled off? Are you in a happy mood? What is it?
Well, speaking of the red zone, we'll go back to that Monday Night Football game at U.S. Bank Stadium, a.k.a. the House of Noise, where ABC Monday Night Football was on hand to cover the game. And, of course, it's Troy Aikman and Joe Buck doing the game. Well, a couple of guffaws by that fearsome twosome. First, Joe Buck. With T.J. Hawkinson down and hurt, he says, hey, one of our cameras caught head coach Kevin O'Connell telling him to get down, stay down, after he had been hurt. And apparently he was telling him to stay down. He didn't want him to get up on a hurt ankle and limp off the field, and injure it further. But no, Joe Buck insinuating that he was cheating, that Kevin O'Connell was cheating. Okay, Joe, I think you blew that one. And then a little bit later in the game and the broadcast, it was Troy Aikman's turn. And Troy saying, Kirk Cousins is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. One of the top 10? How about top 5? He might be one of the most productive quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He certainly is the best quarterback in the NFC North. I think you got to give him a little bit more credit than that. So Joe and Troy, you two can go pound sand as far as I'm concerned. Bring back Dandy Don and Howard and the Giffer, and heck, I'll take OJ for that matter. Wow. But get those two out of here. I'm glad they're out of Minnesota for the rest of the year.
Well, let's check out that mood meter. Oh, he's in the red zone. Yeah, all heated up, grumpy Guardian. Okay.
I just named 3 guys that are no longer with us and 1 guy that should be in prison.
Wow. Well, he did his time in Nevada.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. My take of the day, the NBA started up this week. The association tipped off yet another season. I'm going to throw the gauntlet down at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Uh-oh. They are a young, bold, and brash and confident. That means no more play-in games. You got to get into the playoffs without worrying about qualifying. That would be A. B, I want to see at least 2 rounds or deeper. Obviously, the goal is an NBA title, but I'm not saying they have to do that just yet. But you got to go 2 to 3 rounds in, make a run, get the fan base truly excited, and prove that you're worth all the hype, Ant and Cat and Rudy G, and make that trade look more respectable than it did a year ago, giving up all those players to Utah. So I'm throwing the gauntlet down at the T-Wolves, and hey, if you win and go deep, you may get that coveted new arena they want down at Mall of America.
Oh, boy, we'll see about that.
And on that note, let's go. We'll FedEx out our thank yous to David Weld, Alex Yambrick, Paul Langfellow, Rocky, Chuck Foreman. For Wally, I'm Eric, saying so long. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.